Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hey everybody, welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with Glenn Ambrose, your host, Glenn Ambrose. And now we're inviting in Ben.
Hey everybody.
Hey Ben.
Hey Glenn. So what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about the number one priority, the number one most important thing in the entire universe,
Money.
Close source. Connection to source.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Money is a close 40th.
All right. Connection to source.
Connection to source. So it's, I actually was out on my bike ride earlier today, and I was just this was kind of the mode I was in this morning, which is kind of a consistent mode, we'll say. But for some reason I was diving into the mentality of the mode, and I was just kind of getting a little bit more clarity, and some thoughts were running through my head, and I said, hey, maybe that'd be a good podcast topic. And here we are a few hours later.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Why is it? Let's break it down. What is connection to source? What is source?
Source is our source of everything. And the reason that I use that word is because of, I'll use different words in different situations. And that, I think that term is a good term for kind of the why of why this is so important. It's because it's our source of everything, really what do we want out of life? I mean, what would we like to experience while we're here? The most important things, if you're walking around feeling safe, if you're walking around feeling cared for and loved, if you're feeling peace inside your heart, if you're not consumed by fear and anxiety, so therefore experiencing contentment and peace, like if you're walking through life like that, everything else is good. It's and also source. So your source is the source of all those things, and it's also the source of divine wisdom, knowing what to do, being in alignment with your purpose and your passion, knowing what your passion is, having the enthusiasm to chase your passion, like all that comes when you're connected with source. And, we're so object oriented that anything else captures our attention. Anything like, a squirrel, absolutely anything other than those things will capture our attention. And we put our attention to anything other than our source, and then we wonder why we're struggling around, bumping around through life without any clear direction, without feeling safe, without experiencing peace in our heart, without enjoying happiness on a regular basis, without feeling loved. We all want these things, but we don't go to the source of them consistently. We're constantly being distracted by everything else, like I said, objects and symptoms. It's the way we treat disease around here. It's especially in the West. It's that treat the symptom, not the actual problem. So we're running around and going like, geez, I don't feel love in my heart. Well, I'm going to go find somebody to bring into my life so I experience love. It's like, no, that's treating the symptom, not the actual problem. There's a source of unconditional love that's dependable, that is ever present, and everywhere. And, like you can access that at all times, and you can depend on it. So you don't feel lonely. And then when you get into a relationship, you can share that with somebody else, and that's just one example of, of the love. But we're always going, well, I'm not happy, so I must need a better job or a nicer house or a different car or, anything, just anything other than connecting to our source of everything. It's so simple that we overlook it.
Yeah. Is that egoic?
Yeah, because we're identified with our ego. We're not identified, like, I think it was Beckwith that said this many years ago. He said, if you are consumed by things that are temporal, then you know that you're connected to the ego. The ego is in control. If you're consumed by things that are eternal, then you know you're connected with your soul. And, that's the problem is where we're connected with our ego as who we are. We think we are our ego. So whenever our ego says, well, you need a new car, we go, right. You're the one in control. You told me I needed a new car. And we think it's us thinking that. It's just a thought form that kicks out. But we think it's us. We go, I want a new car. Why? Because my brain told me I did. Like, no, your ego told you did. Your ego implied that you would be happier if you got a new car. And because you didn't second guess it, because you didn't even look at it, question it, because you aren't connected with the eternal aspect of yourself, you just believed it. Said, well, okay, I guess I got to get a new car. Let's start looking. Well, it makes sense. It was my thought, So we have to practice connecting to our source over and over consistently, so we become more identified with things that are eternal, like love, peace, happiness. Those are actually eternal qualities. They don't change. They're there, ever present all the time, and we can connect to them and then bring them into our life. So then when you buy a new car, like the first time I bought a car, that when I wasn't connected to ego, was like 15 years ago or something. And I got this car. My son was little. I was driving a piece of crap that was starting to break down, and I got a brand new car. And it was dependable, and it was very basic and simple, but it was dependable. And I knew for the next several years, for the most part, I probably wasn't going to have too many problems with this thing, and if I had a bunch, then you got the lemon law to kind of back you up. So, I mean, I was feeling pretty good about the stability of this vehicle. And I remember 5 years later, driving through the center of town when I was living in Rhode Island, driving through the center and seeing people sitting on a park bench in the cold in the winter, waiting for a bus, going, oh my God, I am so grateful for this car. And my heart would swell up with gratitude and like take over my whole being of just sheer gratitude for this car. And that was 5 years later. I felt just about the same amount of gratitude for that car 5 years later as I did the day I got it. That, and I could see that it was because I didn't get it egoically. I didn't think I was going to be happier when I got this car. It was a car. I understood it was just a car. It was something to make my life easier, to get me from A to B, to be safe for my son, stuff like that, but I didn't think it was a source of my happiness. So therefore, once I got it, the happiness didn't diminish, 2 weeks later, because it was an expression. I was grateful that my source had provided me the means to get this car. So, so it wasn't just about the car. It was about my gratitude was going to my source that was expressing itself through the car. And that's why it stayed. That's why I was capable of staying grateful for 5 years and then some until I got rid of it.
How do we do that with relationships, with interpersonal relationships, with family, loved ones, friends, significant others? You know,
It's we have to, I always say, go within. All work is self-work. Go within, go within, go within, start there. And this is basically the same as that. It's the same mentality. It's just coming at it from a different perspective. It's understanding that, when we're in a relationship with somebody, it's very easy to get intoxicated by it. It's very easy because we're sitting there, right, and we're feeling lonely or just not real connected or something. Then all of a sudden we meet somebody, we get into a relationship with them, and all of a sudden we start experiencing this joy when we're around them. And sometimes that turns into a love. And joy is just kind of a version of love anyway. So we start experiencing this positive feedback within us, and it's very easy to think that that person is the source of what we're feeling, which they are not. That they are not the source of what we are feeling. They're just a good mirror. When we're connecting, when we have the love we have within us, all love flows through us. So we have love within us. And then all of a sudden we connect with somebody that's a good mirror for us. And so our joy, our love comes out of us, and it hits that mirror and bounces back, and we feel it. So it's our own, we're experiencing our own love. We're not experiencing somebody giving us something that we didn't have before. We're experiencing the love that flows from our source through us out, and as it comes through us and out, we're experiencing it. So that's the actual love that we're experiencing. If we think that's our source, wait until you get into an argument. Now where'd your source go? So I think that, like, the easiest way to kind of wrap your brain around this is the idea of consistency. Like, really, that we have to have consistency. We can't, the system can't be set up where, like, everybody has to find that one person, or everybody has to find the correct type of person. And that person has to be at the correct place in their journey to connect with you. And you have to be in the right place of your journey to connect with them. And then if you have that, then you get to experience love. And if you don't, well, it sucks to be you. Thanks for playing. You don't get it. Like that. Who would, what kind of loving creator would create a system like that? And, I think it's easier coming in from a loving creator perspective here. But even if you don't, how I always say, it's, even if you don't believe in a loving creator, what if there's just this self-centered universe that just wants its own expansion? Whatever makes people feel good expands them, because the universe wants to expand. So love is one of those things that makes people feel good. So it's an expansive energy. So the universe wants you to expand, so it expands. So it wants you to feel things like love that make you feel expansive. And we're not going to let half of our people down there on Earth attain this, because the system is broke. Because the universe isn't smart enough to figure out a system where everybody can have access to happiness. It can figure out entire universes and stars and black holes and freaking, it can figure out immense, just our bodies, the way our bodies function is insane. It can figure all that out, but it can't figure out a system where all its parts has the possibility of expanding. Like, it's absurd. Of course it has a system where we all have the ability to expand. So if we all have the ability to expand, then it can't be based on external circumstances. It can't. Love, nothing that feels good can be based on our external circumstances, because we live in an ever-changing reality. So we could never have it consistently. So we're like, oh, wonderful. Oh, crap day. Oh, I have it. Oh, I lost it. And we're our energy is constantly in flux. That system doesn't work. Whether it's a loving creator that just loves us and wants the best for us, or if it's a self-expansive universe, it's a system that doesn't make any sense, So there.
All right. Yeah. So, what are ways to get back to source when you're, when you veered off course?
Well, I think, when we veered off course, or almost every day, either way, it's the same answer, because it's kind of like, because we just don't do it. I mean, look around the world, we don't do it. I mean, most people just don't do it. We just don't live like that. We live through egoic senses primarily. And then some people, if they have time, squeeze in their connection to source on a Sunday, if the kid doesn't have a soccer game, maybe, and they didn't burn the bacon, in the morning. So so really what it is it's about making it a priority. And that's why I kind of wanted to explain it first. It's like, it's everything. It's literally everything. It's everything you want. It's God is our source of love, peace, abundance, knowledge, creativity, everything. Anything that you want in your life is embodied in your source. So whatever you want more in your life of, it's just a matter of connecting to source. My business always expands the more I'm connected to my source, because my source is my source of abundance. And my business is just the channel that my source uses to provide that abundance. Sometimes it comes from other places, but that's the main channel that it uses. But if I'm not connected to my source, then my business doesn't do well, because I've just disconnected from my source of abundance. So it doesn't matter what you want in life. And that's why I like how Eckhart Tolle recently did a manifesting video series or something. And so many people want things in their life, and so they focus on the law of attraction, and it's just one law. And there's always been something missing from the teachers, in my opinion. And Tolle nailed it. And it's connect to source first. Connect to whatever the heck you think is out there. And once you're in that space, now your thinking changes. You don't sit there and you don't go, oh, I want a car because it's going to make me happy. You might still want the car, and you still might decide to manifest the car, but it's not because you think it's going to make you happy. It's because it's an expression of joy in your life. And when you go to manifest something through that energy, now all of a sudden your manifestation is powerful. Because most people that manifest consistently, they can't figure out how it works. And these are the ones that do it consistently. I mean, because they can't do it actually consistently. Semi-consistently is consistently for somebody manifesting. Nobody just manifests at will. And the reason that they don't is because if they're focused on manifesting, they're not focused on the source of everything, which is the true manifesting source. So they're just randomly putting stuff out with mixed egoic messages, which really isn't that powerful. But if you connect to source first, and then you manifest what you there's a earnest desire and a expansion aspect. It's an alignment with source now. And there's that's now you're aligning with the energy that literally created the universe. So yeah, it can get you a car, so, and that's the manifestation aspect. And it's the same thing with the love. If you want love, then be love, connect to that unconditional love, that love that you can count on, that love that's always there, that's unconditional, that's always. And then get into a relationship and see how healthy that relationship is. Amazingly more healthy than if you do it the other way. Amazingly, it's like night and day, amazingly more healthy. So whatever you want, if you just make connection to source priority, I want my business to expand. What should I do? You should connect to source. That's what you should do. And then after that, connect to source again, and connect to source, and then connect to source. And then after you connected to source, you should start connecting to source. And then what's going to happen is, as you're consistently connected to source, you're going to be in alignment with divine wisdom. So if there's some action that you should take to expand your business, it's going to come right to you and through you. So, and if there's something that if there's somebody that you should meet that could enhance your life, you're going to be drawn to them. It's, there's a perfect flow of life. And that flows through us. And if we tap into that, we get everything we want. It's just, we're so focused on getting what we want instead of focusing on how to get what we want. And 3/4 of the things that we think we want, we don't want. We don't care. It doesn't matter. 2 days later, we're going to be like, it was good. Are you happy you have it? Yeah. Does it make your life better? Like, no, not really.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, unless it's an expression of you. And the only way you do that is if you're connected to a source.
Is there any way to help others connect? Right. So say that you're doing pretty well at this, but you have a friend, a parent, whatever, that could use this advice. Is there any way to help others?
No.
All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
GlennAmbrose.com.
There's your life coach telling you that there's no way to help anybody other than yourself. No, I mean, if have a conversation. If they're ready, then, it's, here's a common question that I get. How do you know when people are ready? It's so easy. And people think it's so difficult. And it's very, very easy, because when you're talking to them about this stuff, are they receiving it? Are they saying, is it making sense to them? Are they opening to it, or are they closing off to it? Are they resisting it? And it's not like, you don't have to be a guru to figure it out. You just start having a conversation. And if every time you shut up, they go, yeah, but I don't know, it sounds good, but I don't know about that, then they're not ready. It's fine. Okay, my bad. Just continue doing it your way, because obviously it's working so well for you that we're even having this conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you just have conversations like this, share this podcast with them, and if they think that I'm full of crap, then they're not ready, which is fine. Not everybody's going to wake up to this. It's not going to jive. There was stuff, even though I was awake, there was stuff 15 years ago that I was listening to that other teachers said that I said, absolutely no way. False. Definitely not. And then a year later, I listened to it again and I went, wow, they were right. I just wasn't ready to hear it. So just because somebody's not ready to hear it, it feels like it's not right for them. Connecting to source is right for everyone, but not everybody's capable of doing that where they are. So, yeah, it's just like I do. What I usually do is I just have like kind of in my mind what I call like hypothetical conversations. I just kind of feel people out. I don't try diving into stuff with somebody to find out if they're ready. Just throw a few strands of spaghetti up against the wall. You don't have to throw the whole pot. Just a few strands will do. And then you see if it sticks. If you throw a couple comments at them, about everything coming through the divine, and just the idea, just the mentality that God is our source of everything. Like maybe start there, because if you say, hey, you know what you're doing wrong, people, the defenses go right up. You know what you should do. That's a good way to snap somebody's mind shut. You know what you should do. Because then they're just getting ready for their rebuttal. So, but if you just take something abstract, that doesn't have anything to do with them specifically, and just start talking generally about God or a higher power or the universe being our source of everything, and that other things are just like jobs can be a channel in which that source uses to bring us abundance, but the source itself is God, and then your job is the channel. If that channel dries up or is gone, well, God will just find another channel. You didn't lose your source, so you don't have to get all fearful. You just start looking around and say, oh, I wonder which channel my source is going to choose next to bring abundance into my life. Start looking around, and then all of a sudden you find it. But often what people do is they panic. Oh my God, I lost my source of income. No, you didn't. You lost your channel of income that your source was using. You still got your source, So that's more foundational when we can anchor into the permanent stuff. I think that's the theme kind of with today, I guess we touched on it in the beginning. It's, when you're concerned with things that are eternal, that are consistent, that you can depend on, that's stuff coming from source into your soul through you. So when, that's what gives you the sense of safety, sense of peace, sense of happiness, sense of love, all those, the abundance. It gives us all that stuff when we're connected to it. So just connect to it, and then you'll have all that stuff.
Yeah, that's it's a really simple topic. It's a really simple thought, but it's hard to execute.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it is. It's not even that hard to execute. It's just that we don't, man. It's our attention span is like, and I mean, I'm just as bad as everybody else. I'm a little ADHD Glenn bouncing off the wall. So, my attention can get grabbed by many things very easily. So I get it. It's just, that's what I was just really feeling while I was riding my bike today. It's just like, man, stop letting attention get drawn elsewhere and just feel the connection. Just feel the connection. Like I can ride my bike. Like a lot of when I was riding my bike, this is what I was getting. I was riding it and I'm going like, sometimes I get distracted by things, and I was riding my bike. So I'm like, yeah, like in this situation, sometimes I'm riding my bike and I think to myself, what should I be doing? Like my mind starts thinking about something, and I recognize that it's thinking about something. So I go, what should I be doing? And my answer usually is something like, I should be enjoying the bike ride. I should be enjoying the fresh air and the animals that I see and the plants. And I should be really enjoying this because I'm out in nature and I should enjoy nature. And today I was like, no, wrong answer. Thanks for playing. No, you shouldn't be trying to enjoy nature. What you should be doing is connecting to source. Because when you're connected to source, then you enjoy nature. So stop putting the external before the internal. So I was just connecting to source. And then when I was really feeling the love in my heart and stuff, all of a sudden my head lifts up and I start looking around and I start enjoying nature through the energy of connectedness. And I can enjoy it more that way, truly. So if we do everything like that, what do I need to do? I need to take action for my business. No, you don't. You need to connect to source. Spend a few minutes connecting to source and then get still and say, now what should I do? Marketing feels right. Okay, I'll Google how to market my life coaching business and try to stay connected while I'm doing this and try to stay connected. So if we can first get connected and then try to act out of that connectedness, then we're doing everything in the energy of love, and it's much more productive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this was a good one, man.
Yeah.
Where can people find you if they want help or they want to buy the book or anything like that?
Probably glenambrose.com, Glenn with 2 N's. Just check out my website. Everything's there, even prices for one-on-one coaching if I'm accepting clients at the moment. So check it out. Get the book. The book's doing well. Please leave reviews. The book's doing really well. I'm seeing the numbers rise. Not a lot of reviews yet, though. So if you could leave a review for the book, that'd be great. I've got a course and lives every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern on my Facebook and YouTube pages. And all that info is right on my website. So check it out, glenambrose.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. And thank you, Ben. And we will talk with you soon.